This is video number 428. It's the mobile version of video number 427. Both videos have the same contents, except the song's audio is removed to avoid copyright issues. Video number 427 is a computer version. It has the audio for the song, but it will not play on mobile devices due to copyright issues with the song. Hello, I'm James Ingram,
And I'm Rita Stein.
and we're going to do a little demonstration of the Colorado Cha-Cha. We're not instructors, we're just amateur dancers, but we want to take this opportunity to walk through this dance, dividing it into 3 parts of 8 beats each, plus a fourth part, the 4-count sways. We found these, there's other videos on this dance on YouTube. We found them under 5 different names, and we've tried to link those together on a web page, which you can access using the domain name www.coloradochacha.com. First thing we're going to do is actually dance this to the music for about 4 walls. We'll do it as a couples dance. This dance can actually be done as a line dance or a couples dance, the same footwork for both people. That's what makes it such a neat dance. It works nicely anywhere from 100 beats per minute up to around 116 beats per minute. You can get going much faster than that. It kind of rushed. The song we'll be using it is about 104 beats per minute. When it's danced in Denver, Colorado, where the dance was started, you start on the 3-4 right rock step, counts 3 and 4, which is how we'll do it for the demonstration. We'll dance about 4 walls. We'll try to add 1 sway variation, 1 exit to ballroom dancing and back. This dance consists of basically 4 simple line dance components. The first one being what they call a shuffle step, or the ballroom dancers sometimes call a cha-cha-cha step, or a triple step if you're a swing dancer, or a polka step, and it's 3 steps on 2 beats of music. In other words, 1 and 2. Just just 2 beats of music, 3 steps, 1 and 2. That's a shuffle step, or sometimes I call it a triple step from swing dancing. That's our one basic component. Our other basic component is a rock step, just two steps on 2 beats of music. Rock step, or rock replace. In this dance it will be 3, 4, rocking forward on the right step, or it'll be 7, 8, rocking back on the left foot. So we basically have triple steps or shuffle steps, the first thing, rock steps the second thing, and the third thing, which is basically a modification of the rock step, is your pivot steps, your half pivot turns. In other words, 3, 4, where I'm coming up, I'm putting my right foot out on 3, going, my weight's on my right foot, going up on both toes, coming down on my other foot on 4. Remember what our instructors tell us about pretending there's nails through the toes of our shoes while we're doing that turn, so we can't lift these feet, we can only turn them, so it's going to look like 3, 4, just coming up and down on the other foot, and then shuffle step, the other pivot step, a right pivot, 7, 8, same thing the other direction. So we have the pivot steps, again a standard line dance component. The last thing is just a 4 sway, sway, 2, 3, 4. So we just have those 4 simple steps to put this dance together. No touch steps, no complicated syncopations or anything like that. Part 1 starts on the left foot with a 1 and 2 triple step forward, a right rock step on beats 3 and 4, then a triple step backward on counts 5 and 6, and a left rock step on beats 7 and 8. And also repeating what we said earlier, if you see this dance danced in Denver, Colorado, where it was originated in the clubs, it starts on count 3, which is the right rock step. In other words, they rock forward starting with their right step, which is counts 3 and 4. But for explanatory purposes, it's easier to make this an 8-count sequence for part 1. When they dance this dance in Denver in the nightclubs, they typically start on the right foot. It's a right rock step, so it's technically a right foot is the leading foot for this dance, both for the man and the woman. But to show this thing down, it works much easier if you start on the left triple, which is normally at the end of the dance. If you watch the other YouTube videos, about half the people showing it start with the rock step, the other half show with the triple step. I like to show the triple step for instructional purposes or demonstration purposes because you can break it up into 4 parts of 8 counts each. So starting with the left forward triple, it's going to be triple step, rock step, triple step, rock step. That's part 1. Again, doing the same thing but counting up to 8. It's going to be 1 and 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6, 7, 8. Breaks into a nice 8-count set of steps. And this is basic standard ballroom cha-cha rhythm. It's what's so nice about this dance. Guys that are new to dancing can be practicing the ballroom rhythm by doing this dance, but they don't have to worry about leading their partner. Part 2 is almost the same as part 1, an 8-count sequence starting with a 1 and 2 triple step starting on the left foot, except there's a half turn right on counts 1 and 2, then rocking back on counts 3 and 4. Counts 5 and 6 you go forward making a half turn left, which puts you backward, then rocking backward on counts 7 and 8. Okay, now we'll do part 2. Part 2 is the same rhythm, except there's a half a turn involved in the thing. So here's what part 2 looks like. Turn a half, rock step, turn a half, rock step. We're counting the beats of music, 1 and 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6, 7, 8. So putting together part 1 and part 2, what we've showed so far, part 1, 1 and 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6, 7, 8. Part 2, 1 and 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6, 7, 8. Part 3 consists of a quarter right turn on the 1 and 2 shuffle step, then on counts 3 and 4, a left pivot turn, a forward shuffle on counts 5 and 6, and a right pivot turn on counts 7 and 8. Keep going. Okay, now we'll do part 3. Part 3 has the same rhythm, that it's got a quarter right turn and 2 pivot turns. This is the part that everybody has trouble getting used to when they do this dance for new. So this is the top part. The counting it out or stepping it out with the step names, it's going to be quarter, turn, half, pivot, triple step, half, pivot. That's part 3. Let's do that again a little slower. Starts out with a shuffle step, and we've got our new wall, which is a quarter turn to the right. Then we do the pivot left, shuffle step, pivot right, and our weight's on our right foot, and we're ready to do part 4. Counting that out with the numbers for the beats, it's going to be 1 and 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6, 7, 8. So let's put that whole thing together. Put the first 3 parts together. 1 and 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6, 7, 8. 1 and 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6, 7, 8. 1 and 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6, 7, 8. So that's the end of part 3. Notice it's the same three sets of 8 counts each if you break it down this way, which for me makes it easier to understand. I get lost in line dances, but if I can break things up in the group of 8s, I can get through them easier. Part 4, the ending, is just 4 counts, the 4-count sway, stepping forward on the left foot for 1, back on the right foot for 2, forward on the left foot for 3, and back on the right foot for 4. I'm going to keep going. Okay, now I'll put part 4 on the end, and part 4 is actually pretty simple. It's just a 4-count sway, so I was standing this way when we finished the last pivot, so and that foot was back there, so I'm just going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. My weight's on my right foot, ready to start the dance over. So the sways is just a sway left, sway right, sway left, sway right. Let's put that all together. Part 1, 1 and 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6, 7, 8. Part 2, 1 and 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6, 7, 8. Part 3, 1 and 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6, 7, 8. Part 4, sway 2, 3, 4. So that's the 4 counts, that's the 4 parts of the dance. 3 parts of 8 using the basic cha-cha step for a total of 24. 4 counts of sway makes it a 28 beat dance. So you're ready, you're facing the new wall, ready to start over again. Okay, we're going to walk through this again just using 2 of us, and again, the footwork's identical essentially for the man and the woman. That's what makes this so nice. It can be done as a line dance or a partner dance, no change of footwork. The only thing we got to do with partners is on part 3, I have to let go of the right hand when we're doing pivot turns. Okay, here we go, part 1. 1 and 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6, 7, 8. Part 2, 1 and 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6, 7, 8. Part 3, 3, 4, 5 and 6, 7, 8. Sway 2, 3, 4. We'll do that. And notice essentially identical footwork as before, just have to let go of the right hand on the pivot turns. Let's go through it once more. Ready, and 1 and 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6, 7, 8. 1 and 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6, 7, 8. 1 and 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6, 7, 8. Sway 2, 3, 4. We're done. And we start over. There's a variation on the sways you can do instead of doing the 4 sways, you can do 2 sets of pivot turns. I think they call that a basketball turn in some dances, but it's an option to do. There's many variations of this dance, and I don't know most of them, but this is one I know and use. Like if your rear ends are facing the audience and you don't want to be swaying with your backs to the audience, you have the option of doing the basketball turns. And I'll walk through that, starting with part 3 to get into it. So here's part 3. 1 and 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6, 7, 8. Sway 2, 3, 4. Let me do that again. 1 and 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6, 7, 8. Pivot 2, 3, 4. 1 and 2, 3, 4. Starting over with part 1. So you notice I did the basketball turn, essentially half pivot again. Instead of the sways, it takes up the same 4 counts, but you're not swaying with your back to the audience. Now we'll demonstrate the same thing using the double pivot turns instead of the sways on part 4 with a partner. So again, we'll start and do part 3 to work our way into it. So ready, and 1 and 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6, 7, 8. Pivot 2, 3, 4. 1 and 2, 3. Stop. We went back into part 1. You can see we did the 2 pivots as an option to the sways. And you may have noticed in the demonstration we did a short exit from Colorado Cha-Cha to the standard ballroom position. And that's handy because you can switch from Colorado Cha-Cha to standard ballroom. It's the same rhythm, which is another nice thing about the dance. If I'm doing the Colorado Cha-Cha, say part 1, it would be 1 and 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6, 7, 8. Now instead of doing part 2, pretend the lady's here next to me, I can do a walk, 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 walk step with shift speed from the right foot to the left foot, and opposite foot to the lady. Then my walk, step, triple step, walk, step. Notice now I'm in ballroom position and I can come, and the lady's over there. And then we can do that ballroom for a while and then come back to Colorado Cha-Cha if we so desire. So you can switch back and forth from Colorado Cha-Cha to ballroom Cha-Cha. Okay, here we go, switching from Colorado Cha-Cha position to ballroom position. I've got her in cape, I think they call this cape position, which is what you can use for most of the Colorado Cha-Cha. We'll do a Colorado Cha-Cha part 1 and switch to ballroom. Ready, and 1 and 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6, 7, 8. Walk, 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 step, triple step, walk, step. Now I'm in ballroom position. We're doing ballroom moves. I'm on the opposite foot from the lady. So now I'll bring her back in a second. Still in ballroom, triple step, walk, step, walk, 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 step. 1 and 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6, 7. Stop. So by doing those walks, I shift from my right foot to left foot, so I get on the opposite foot as the lady, which is what's required for ballroom. One problem we've noticed when doing this dance, as I mentioned before, I think people have problems with part 3, which seems to be the most complicated. That's where you do the quarter turn to the right and then the 2 half pivots. So the other night we were doing this in our line dancing class here, and we tried it part 3 with just a quarter turn, but leaving out the 2 pivots, because the quarter turn gives you your new wall. The 2 pivots just cancel each other out. So we'll demonstrate that. We'll start with part 2. Actually, we'll start with part 1 just to make it clear, but we'll leave out the pivots. So ready, and 1 and 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6, 7, 8. 2 and 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6, 7, 8. 3 and walk, step, triple step, walk, step, sway, 2, 3, stop. You notice what we did the quarter turn to the right, but we just did pivot turn, we just did walk steps instead of the pivot. And that's what you can do with newer people, they're getting lost on the pivot turns, and when they become comfortable with the dance, they can add the pivot turns in later, because if a couple next to us is doing the full pivot turns, we'll all be lined up the same way. If you type in the domain name ColoradoChaCha.com, it currently forwards you to a page on danceliteracy.com as of April 2014. What we've done on this web page, we've listed about 6 videos we've been able to find that show how to do this dance, and then we've listed about another half dozen videos below that which show people demonstrating this dance. The important thing to note is all these videos follow the standard Denver choreography as recorded by Manny and Alice Rodella. There's many other variations of this dance, but we've searched a lot of videos, and the ones we've listed follow that standard choreography. And the important other thing to note is you can find this dance on YouTube under about 5 different names. I think there's the Colorado Cha-Cha, Stationary Cha-Cha, Denver Cha-Cha, Texas Cha-Cha, and Cowboy Cha-Cha. And one more thing, we've taken, since this is our web page, we've taken the liberty of putting our page first, but you may well prefer some of these other videos. They're certainly going to be more brief than our video is. I was able to talk on the telephone to Manny Rodella. He and his wife Alice are dance instructors in Colorado Springs, Colorado. Manny was kind enough to give me some information about this dance and help me find some of the other variations on YouTube that I couldn't find by myself. As I understood him to say, Manny did not choreograph this dance himself. He actually learned it in Denver, but he is the first person apparently to write it down and send the steps to Kick It to get it recorded, and he's hence listed as the choreographer on the Kick It sheet. I myself learned this dance in Denver when I lived there, first from Mark and April Saki, and later from Becky and Company Country Western Dance School. This dance was originally called the Cowboy Cha-Cha. That's what I learned it as, and I think they still call it that in Denver, the Cowboy Cha-Cha. But Manny Rodella wisely made the decision, I think, to rename it to the Colorado Cha-Cha to avoid confusion with the other Cowboy Cha-Cha, which is the big circular dance. So now this dance is, I guess, correctly called the Colorado Cha-Cha, although you still find it under the Cowboy Cha-Cha in Denver and several other names in various parts of the country. Back to the web page for this dance. Step at the bottom of the web page, this last section says Step Sheet for Colorado Cha-Cha. We've got the link to Kick It, where you can find the original Kick It step sheets. You can search for Colorado Cha-Cha. I tried to link directly to the Kick It sheet, but I couldn't do it because their URLs keep changing. The same steps can also be found on Copper Knob, and here's a link to that. On this website, there's 3 links for PDF files. Link 1 is the original Kick It step sheet. Link 2 is that same Kick It sheet with some notes that I've added, which appears down here below. And link 3 is 2 8.5 by 11 sheets, which you can tape together to make a large sketch showing the 4 parts. I've actually taped this to the wall to try to give a helpful diagram for people to follow. Now, scrolling down, we get to the actual Kick It step sheet, and you want to make sure you get the one that says choreographed by Manny and Alice Rodella. There's other versions which are different, but the Manny and Alice Rodella is the original version that they dance in Denver, Colorado. On the left is the unmodified Kick It steps. On the right, I put some notes that correspond to how we tried to present it in this video. Divided these steps into 4 parts. Part 1, forward and back 8 beats. Part 2, the half turns, 8 beats. Part 3, the quarter turn and the pivot turn, 8 beats. And part 4, the sways at the end, which are 4 beats. And then down at the bottom, of this sheet, I've got these diagrams repeated. Here's part 1, forward and back 8 beats, part 2, the half turns 8 beats, part 3, the pivot turns 8 beats, and part 4, the sways 4 beats. And just a comment about the direction of the turns, a lot of people get confused on which direction they want to turn. This dance has 5 turns, and it's a right, left, and then a right, a left, and a right again. So it starts with a right turn, and then it alternates. And this left turn is on your triple step forward with the left foot. And if you do this correctly, turning to the right, I think I made it say left earlier, but turning to the right as you're supposed to, it works very nicely. If you try to turn the wrong way, which would be to the left, that you can do it, but it's very awkward. So you turn to the right on this first triple and turn to the left on the second triple coming back, and it's the way that's easiest to go with your feet. And ditto here, when you do this quarter turn to the right, it going forward on a left triple forward, it's easier to make that turn. If you tried to do it wrong and turn to the left, you could do it, but it'd be awkward. And ditto with the pivot turns. If you keep your toes planted on the floor with your imaginary spikes through the toes of your soles of your shoes on steps 3 and 4, as our instructors tell us, it's easy to turn to the left here. If you try to go the wrong way and turn to the right, your legs actually wrap up and you can't do it. And the same thing happens on the other end. And one more comment down at the bottom. Here's these last, if you follow the kick it sheet, here's this triple step hanging on the end here. It counts 27 and 28 on the kick it sheet of these triple steps. So again, just kind of repeating what we said earlier, we take these last 3 triple steps and move them up to the top, that shuffle step forward or triple step forward, move that to the top, and that allows us to make an even 8 beats for part 1. recording.
Well, that's the end of the demonstration for Colorado Cha-Cha. I hope that you have seen something in the video that might inspire you to try it. It's a fun dance, and it can be done many ways. And I hope you enjoyed it.